Hi, it's Teresa. Thank you for joining me today. One of the things that I do before I get started on my watercoloring is I go through and I make swatches. And what I thought I'd do today is show you several of the swatches that I've made just to kind of look at how this card came together. So this is one on basically a craft piece of paper. I'm putting the ones here in the front are the ones that I truly felt like were the best. And this was using flamingo and doing my first and second generation stamping on and off. I have another video that I put out that actually shows you how to do the first and second generation. Then here's one with flamingo and blossom. Here's one with just blossom. So I really struggled between these three, but then I wanted to incorporate some watercolor. So what I did is I started pulling watercolor paper out and trying to see how that might look for me. You can see here that I'm actually adding what my process was in each one of these swatches so that I can determine if I want to use them. There is opportunities to use these. I wouldn't recommend them for this card. I wanted to take an opportunity to let you know just how many different items were used. These are also items that were taken from the Happiness Lives Here Scrapbook workshop, and these are leftovers from that actual workshop to make this card. So as you can see, there's quite a few items to get this started. So first what I want to do is I want to take the paper itself and I want to just get it a little bit wet because this is not watercolor paper. Although I could have used watercolor paper, I'm just not going to use that. I've taken my Heath Ron markers, and there will be a video coming up soon that actually talks about the Heath Ron markers. And this is marker 13 and this is marker 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of this color on here so I can get a little bit of the watercolor look. This is going to be strange because it's not going to be your normal watercoloring techniques. So, at this point, now I'm going to take my stamp itself. I'm going to give this a moment to dry. And I'll take my largest stamp first, based on my swatch over here. I'm going to do this first with my flamingo. First I'll just do a test run to see how well this is, because normally I use my stamping platform. But today I'm going to use this. Oh, turned out beautifully. So now what we'll do, and we're going to put this on top of our watercolor. I'm going to pay special attention as to which way I put my stamp. I'm actually going to take this and I'm actually going to do some coloring direct to the stamp. So now I have already put the marker number 14 on here. Okay? I'm sorry, number 13. But so there. That turned out really, really well. And there's a reason why, by the way, I did that marker on the very bottom, is I want to, when I cut this out, I don't want a white trim around it. I want to have enough color around it to where I don't need the white trim. Now, obviously, I'll clean this off. And it comes right off because obviously it's watercolor marker, so. And last but not least, and this is the one that's going to come in dark, and this is number 4 on the, and I do have another couple other videos coming up on the watercolor techniques. There you have it. So in looking at that, I wanted to get that just a little bit stronger, so I am going to redo this. There's my first stamp. I wanted a little bit more definition, so I changed my mind. And I'm going to go back to this plan. Okay, has just enough of it to give it that variation. Wipe this off. Got to do it pretty quick. And last but not least, ABC 1, 2, 3 is my normal go-to, and I like it much better. So that'll be the one that I use. Now I've sped this up quite a bit, but this is just going to be a quick look at fussy cutting. And you will see the difference in the one that I have that actually has the background. But I'll speed this up, and through the miracle of videotaping, you will see that both of them turn out very nice. So what I want to point out here is this one has that more watercolored look, and I did that on purpose because I did want to see how that would turn out. I like it. Not as crazy about it as I am the other copy, the other one that we made. And of course, if I do have any white edges, I just take my stamp and I take it through and I try to grab those ends right there and just give it that nice crisp outside edge, just so I don't have to worry about that white showing. It's not a problem if the white shows, I just didn't want it in this particular card. So I'll do this at the edges to make that look better. As you can see, there's a very different look to them. This is a little bit more crisp. This one does have that watercolor look, and I do like it. Now we're going to take a look at the leaves. I apologize. I don't know that I had enough light as I was going through doing that other flower. Hopefully I did, and hopefully this video turns out fine. But I have two different ways that we're going to do the leaves. We're going to do them on the white paper, and these are just the scraps from what I cut out a while ago. We're going to do it on the white paper, and we're going to do it on the craft paper. You'll see in the video, in the card that I made, that I displayed, that I used the craft. But I wanted to go ahead and do this also in the white to see if I liked it better. May end up making that a little darker. So we'll do it here also. We'll do it on the white. This, by the way, is the leftover watercolor paper that I used in my swatches. I'm doing it on the smoother side, not necessarily the rough side. This is regular paper. In this case, I believe I have Nina Solar White here. And as you can see, I tend to use the same block just to save on time, especially if I'm doing it for the videos. I like it much better on the white using the same color. Get better also. Just a guess there. Now off screen, I took an opportunity to go ahead and cut out all of those leaves, and I did the white and the green so that I could play around with them, even though my actual card example is in the, I'm sorry, not the green, the craft paper. That's what's in my actual example, but we may switch this one up. Okay, kind of like it. Next, I'm going to grab the Beautiful You. I just absolutely love this stamp set. It's been one that we've had around for a really long time, and I didn't catch it in time to actually get the die cuts. So I just make do, and I make sure that I have lots of time to do fussy cutting in order to do it. So here's my trick that I do quite a bit for everyone who has not watched my videos in the past. I take this and I grab it, I put it in a grid mat, line it up, then I add my block to it. So I'm using black VersaFine ink. There you have it. Now, we'll put everything together. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to line up the bottom portion of this so that I can see exactly where I want that to go. So, I'll line them all up. And probably what I'll do is I will put this bottom portion on first, and then I'll put the ribbon here, which, by the way, I have the blush ribbon from Close to My Heart. It's a shimmer ribbon. I'll put this on first. Because I am probably more than likely going to be putting this in the mail, depending on if I use it for my card of my month, I've asked everyone to kind of vote for me to let me know what they believe the card of the month for May should be, if this would be a good Mother's Day card. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up. Next, what I'll do is I'll grab my score tape. I have a video that it's called Tape It Up a Notch. I'll try to find it and link it for you, but this is one of the things that I use when I'm using ribbon. I tend to always make sure that I have this available because it is very nice and strong, and I'll have that ready to go. First I'll have to put this one on, and then we'll put it over the top of that. I think I said this, but because it's going in the mail, everything is pretty flat. I'm not adding a lot of dimension. So I generally, a lot of times, will just go ahead and cut the score tape a little bit larger and wrap it around the back. But in this case, I have to be very careful because it's directly on the card. Normally, as you know, if you've watched my videos, I tend to put it on a base and then attach it to the card, but in this case, I put it directly on the card. Take my strip off. Trust me when I say this is really, really, really strong. Oh, I was pretty close. Okay. Take my shimmer ribbon. Okay. There you have it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add our flower. If you recall, we had two that we had to choose from. So I'm going to basically take the leaves and the flowers, get them where I want them. I've done that, but I changed my mind and I decided I didn't want some of that white showing. So I'm going to take this and do like you saw me do just a little bit ago, and basically kind of put this around the edges to make that a little bit more crisp and to remove some of the white. And the reason I changed my mind on these is because of that craft color. I decided that it needed to be, I didn't want the craft leaves around that craft color. I wanted a little bit of a different color around it to make both the leaves and the craft color and the sentiment pop. So I changed my mind, and so this one will be a little bit different than the card that you saw in the original of the video. But they're both pretty, and they both look nice. It's just a matter of preference, really. Decided I better get those leaves down there first. decided I'd do this. I definitely want this to be showing on the craft. Okay, so I think I'm going to like it. Put that down, let that set for just a minute. Don't need to let it set long, but because I pulled it back up to work with it, decided I would do that. So, there's a different version of the card. This is the Happiness Lives Here Scrapbook Workshop, and these are the leftovers from that scrapbook workshop, so I was really excited to get to use my scraps, and you'll see that video coming soon. There'll be a scrap this and scrap that video, and in that video you will see, I believe I'm up to 8 cards, maybe more, by the time the video comes out, and it will be all scraps from this and other workshops. So just using up your supply, craft your stash, lots of different versions that people call it, but in general, basically what it's doing is it's using up supplies from different either workshops or card kits. So, the one thing I meant to mention is, how do you take something that has been used in watercolor and ensure that it stays looking either smooth or, in this case, crisp. So what I did is I took that original flower that I've stamped with both dyes and with the watercolor markers, and I just took and sprayed it with hairspray, and now we don't have to worry about if it gets wet in the mail. It will not smear or smudge. So, little tip for you. If you haven't already subscribed and you like what you see and you'd like to see more, please hit the subscribe button, and so that you can see videos as they come out, please hit that notification button so you can see them just as they come out. So, thanks again for joining me, and have a great day.